First the line and the octagon, then the Dubai circle, now a joint cube. Earlier this month, Saudi Arabia announced its latest project, the Murabba. It's a cube so big that it could fit 20 Empire State Buildings inside of it. Saudi Arabia described it as a gateway to another world, with a holographic dome that transports its visitors to other planets and magical worlds. But is this just a viral marketing stunt, or will the Murabba actually be built? And if so, when would it happen to the public? In this video, we'll look at everything we know so far. Saudi Arabia is a wealthy country in the heart of the Middle East that is known for its vast oil reserves. But it is precisely this oil that Saudi Arabia wants to become less dependent on. That's why they have started announcing and building massive mega projects under the slogan Vision 2030. To slowly shift their economy away from oil and towards tourism, the largest of these projects is NEOM, a $1 trillion mega project that includes a 170-kilometer long line city, a floating port city called Octagon, and a massive ski resort in the Arabian desert called Trojena. We have already talked about NEOM in some of our previous videos, but in the last few weeks there have been some major updates on these projects. In January, the CEO of NEOM announced that the city's total infrastructure was already 20% complete. An update video, which started with the words "NEOM is real," showed images from a huge construction sites including the line, the Octagon, and Trojena. Saudi Arabia has also partnered with some major companies including Oracle and Nvidia, which will help to set up NEOM's citywide AI technology. As if the announcement of NEOM including the line, Octagon, and Trojena wasn't enough, now there's another brand new project. Welcome to New Murabba. This cube is the latest addition to Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030. NEOM has drawn a lot of attention in the last few months, but Saudi Arabia doesn't want to neglect the kingdom's other big cities. That's why New Murabba will be built in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia's capital. Riyadh is already a rapidly growing city. 50 years ago, it was a town with less than 500,000 citizens, but now it has more than 7 million, the third largest city in the Middle East. And according to the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the New Murabba project will become the world's largest modern downtown. This new district is expected to take the growth of Riyadh to another level. It will be fitted out with more than 80 entertainment venues, several walking trails, a large museum, and at the center of it all, the colossal Murabba. Murabba means cube in Arabic, so the building will literally be called the Cube. Building simple geometric shapes at the insane scale seem to be a theme for Saudi Arabia's mega project. After the line and the octagon, the Murabba has been described as a new face of Riyadh. The exterior of the cube is inspired by Najdi architectural, a traditional style which has been used by the people of Saudi Arabia for hundreds of years. The beautiful surface will shine in the sun and dominate Riyadh's skyline. The scale of this cube will be breathtaking. At 400 meters tall, it will technically count as a super tall skyscraper. If placed in Dubai, it will be the fourth largest building. But unlike other skyscrapers, the Murabba is also 400 meters wide and would completely dominate the skyline. To put that into context, you would fit 20 Empire State Buildings inside the Murabba. It would dwarf the exciting cube-shaped buildings in the other parts of the world. The Berlin Cube, for example, is a striking office block in Germany. Its mirrored sides are eye-catching, but it's only 40 meters tall. You would fit thousands of these inside the Murabba. In terms of sheer volume, this cube could become the largest structure on Earth, easily beating the current record holder, the Boeing Everett factory in Washington. In fact, it would be so big that the Boeing factory could fit almost 5 times into the cube. But what will all this space be used for? Setting foot inside the Murabba cube is meant to feel like entering another world. A colossal dome with tower over its visitors that displays different virtual realities. These holographic images are supposed to make the Murabba's visitor feel as though they are in a different world. In 1 second, you could be in the bottom of the ocean, while in another moment, you are on the surface of Mars or in magical fantasy world. It's meant to be an immersive experience unlike anything you have ever seen before. At the center of the dome will be a spiral tower which looks almost like an anthill, or brackets of fungus rising from the floor to the roof. This tower is meant to be a premium destination for tourists all around the world. It will have restaurants, hotel rooms, observation platforms, and cinemas and theaters too. The towers and the dome will then be enclosed by the massive cube. The 4 corners of the cube will also be packed with facilities stacked up in skyscraper-like towers. The top will be used as well, housing lakes, lawns, and trees. Whether it makes sense to build a lake on it or it's even possible is another matter. So why is the Mukab cube shape? According to Mukab's designers, the cube shape design is the most efficient shape for accommodating all the advanced technologies that will support the overall experience. How they want to display the virtual world isn't clear yet, but the technology will need to be hidden in the space between the bell-jar dome and the outer cube. Between the dome and the shell, there will also need to be a robust array of joists and beams to hold up the gardens on the top of the cube. The skyscraper-like towers at each corner of the cube will help with support as well. If that's enough to support the largest roof in the world and the garden on top is questionable. The cube-shaped design is also meant to make the Mukab more iconic. The Mukab would give Riyadh a unique landmark that would make the city instantly recognizable among other big cities in the world. It's like the Eiffel Tower in Paris or the Statue of Liberty in New York. Whenever anyone sees a photo of the cube, that will instantly think of Riyadh. Yet the shape has drawn a bit of criticism. Some people say it bears a resemblance to the Kaaba in Mecca, another city in Saudi Arabia. The Kaaba is the most sacred site in Islam. When a Muslim prays anywhere in the world, they make sure to face towards it. But other people have dismissed the similarity and pointed out that the Kaaba isn't the only cube in the world. When the Berlin Cube was built in Germany, nobody said it resembled the Kaaba. So why should the Mukab be any different? These people also pointed out that the Saudi crown is a Muslim. They wouldn't deliberately build an offensive Kaaba-shaped building. So the similarity is probably a coincidence. In general, the announcement of the Mukab project has been met with excitement and intrigue. But everyone has the same question. Will the Mukab really be built? Construction hasn't started yet, but in theory, it will begin in the next few months. Saudi Arabia has promised that the project will open to the public in 2030. Just like the other Vision 2030 projects, including the Line, the Oxagon and Trojena, compared to the Line, this project is probably easier to achieve. Nevertheless, it would pretty much still be the biggest mega project ever built. That's why its outcome is hard to predict. So let's break it down into 3 different scenarios. The first possible scenario, which Saudi Arabia would probably enjoy the most, is that the construction of the cube will start the next month and the 400-meter tall cube will be finished by 2030. Exactly as they've announced it. Riyadh will receive its new icon and slowly attract more and more tourists from all over the world to become one of the most visited places on Earth. If this all sounds too good to be true, that's because there are quite a few hurdles to overcome, which leads us to the second scenario. Financial experts are already skeptical about the feasibility of the project. They cannot see what Saudi Arabia will find the money to build yet another ambitious mega project. Dr. Andreas Craig, an expert in Middle Eastern studies at King's College London, said the finances of all of these are not entirely secured. A few days after the Mukab's announcement, CNN asked the Public Investment Fund how they plan to finance the project. The PIF replied that financial details had not been disclosed yet, but that more information would be released soon. A lot will depend on foreign investment. By 2030, Saudi Arabia is hoping to bring in more than $100 billion per year, which would help to finance projects like the Mukab. There are nowhere near the figure yet, but if enough hype can be generated, foreign investment could rapidly start to rise. But there's no guarantee of that happening though. Vision 2030 was accused by human rights violation by Amnesty International, leaving a stain on the entire project and potentially scaring off foreign investors. But even if Saudi Arabia does raise the money, there is a far more difficult challenge to overcome. Is this mega project even technologically possible? Holograms like the ones described in the Mukab's announcement doesn't exist yet. Some cutting-edge companies like Light Field Lab have made some major advancement in recent years. But holograms on the scale of Mukab's dome are still like science fiction. A similar effect could probably be achieved using giant LED screens. That's what's happening at the MSG Sphere, a project currently being built in Las Vegas and expected to open this year. This immersive entertainment venue will be shaped like a giant sphere, with a wrap-around screen completely covering the inside wall. At 15,000 square meters, it will be the largest screen in the world, about the size of 3 football pitches. It's designed to transport the sphere's audiences to immersive worlds, just like the Mukab in Saudi Arabia. But there's a major difference. The Mukab screen would need to be at least 20 times bigger than the one in the MSG Sphere. And it's hard to know whether a screen that large could actually be built. And let's not forget about the giant lake on the roof of the cube. Millions of liters of water would significantly increase the stress on the infrastructure. So the cube would have to be built extremely sturdy and also be completely waterproof. If the lake were to leak, it would have a devastating effect on the expensive technology directly underneath. In other words, the cube is already facing some major challenges without money to pay for it or technology to support it. There's a chance it will end up never finished. But there's a third option. Maybe the cube will be built one day, but in a downsized, less ambitious form. It could be reduced in size from 400 meters to 200 meters or smaller. Even at 100 meters, it would still be the largest cube-shaped building in the world and an impressive sight to behold. It would be a disappointment compared to the current designs, but surely better than nothing. It's impossible to know what will happen next, but one thing's for certain, it's shaping up to be a fascinating couple of years. When 2030 finally arrives, the Mukhab, the Line, and other groundbreaking projects might open their doors to the public, or maybe none of them will ever be finished. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to hear about more such videos and you want to see such more content, please subscribe our channel and like our videos.